I'm going to take you through how to cut the deck for the towel, and this is probably the most difficult part of building the airplane. You need to be a little careful. There's dots here, and we're just going to score here. We're not going to go all the way through. On the solid lines, we're going to go all the way through. So I'll reiterate that when I do it, but here we go. Here is the cut. This is going to be all the way through on the rear edge of it. This is not going to be all the way through. I have to be very careful. I'm just going to be a little conservative and go from the dots to there, and then here I'm going to go all the way, and then when I start getting towards the dots, I'm going to stop. You can always adjust it and cut it a little more if you need to later. Alright, now we're going to cut these. Also be careful here. If you slip, you'll end up damaging the motor mount, and you'll have to make a new motor mount out of something else. That's the diagonal cut. This is the vertical cut. The vertical cut here. Might as well get these over here. And over here. And one more diagonal cut. Here. Alright, I may have to do a little bit of fooling to get this to work. I'll just turn it over and just sort of see where there seems to be a little bit of stickiness. Don't muscle it too much. Just go through and help on the other side a little bit. It'll come right out. And that needs to go there. And here. This region here is the only crucial. You kind of want to get things square and straight. Everything else is pretty flexible in terms of accuracy of cut. And you can probably tolerate a fair amount of messiness there too, but just it's a place to pay attention. Okay. Alright, so we're going to save these, or one of them, because these are going to become our control horns later for the L-bonds. Alright, so this cut we made. So now we have a deck that's loose here. This is loose here. Alright. So it can go like that. Those are going to fold up. And this is going to become the basis of our motor mount. We're going to make a hinge out of this material and this material by just taking a very light score right there. Make sure it's nice and straight. So what I'm doing is I'm using my ruler to make sure I'm parallel to this edge. You kind of want a nice, it's actually 1.25 inches. This happens to be an 1-inch wide ruler. So I'm just looking for a uniform amount of space here so I know that I'm parallel. All right, so I'm going to rotate it. And I'm just going to go and just a light score, really not very much. Be careful here. You just feel the ribs go. You don't have to get all the way through. It's just it'll be a stress riser and it'll break very well. And then you're going to do the same thing here over those ribs. Just a little bit of a score, and then you just bend it, and you'll actually end up sort of breaking these flutes a little bit. But there you go. And now you have a nice hinge. All right. And I'm going to do the same thing on top here, and we have a nice little hinge there too. So this is going to fold over. This is going to go here, essentially, and this is going to go here, and that's going to become our motor mount, which is, this is going to be the motor mount where we'll be putting the motor. All right, the next thing we need to do is make holes for the motor mount for the actual motor to go through. So here's one of our motors. I've already added the bullet connectors. They've been soldered on, and heat shrink has been added. And what we have to do is get ourselves an Allen key to loosen these up, so we want to get the mount off. This is actually a little round mount that they provide with the motor if you use our motors, which are these Tara Pros. And that comes off. And now what we're going to try and do is cut a hole in the back of this so that it will push through, and that this will hold the motor, and then this will fold over it and hold the whole thing together. The easiest way to do this, I've found, you can do it with an X-Acto or a knife, but I like having a 5/8 spade bit like this. And you just throw that in a drill. Okay. And we will start here. We're just going to make a little hole because we need a hole there. And we'll just sort of center it. This is not a particularly crucial dimension. I just sort of center it in the overall space and just drill down a little bit so I've got everything kind of where I want it. And then I'm going to need a little bit of working. We need to drill down a little bit, so I'm going to stack up some coroplast here so I can drill down into it. Okay, I'm going to stop here. This is actually the back of it, and I'll just hit this just a tiny bit here because this is where there's a little bit of a stub that comes out of the motor, and I just want to have a nice hole there for it to fit into. However, now I have a pilot hole on this side. This is the bottom part of the folded out bit, and this is now going to get drilled out all the way using the spade bit. Okay, and it can help us sort of turn it over and do it the other way too. It's almost through, but there we go, we got it. So that's a little nice round circle, and this bit here now will fit in there very nicely with nice support, and this will fold over and hold it in place. So we now have a solid motor mount made out of the deck material. What you want to be sure about is with these, where the Allen set screws are, you want to make sure that they're up and down so that you can get at them through the flutes with the Allen key. So you'll be able to go in like this to take the motor on and off. One thing that is non-standard a little bit about this is that this motor will spin if you don't, just from the torque of the motor, unless you put a screw in there. So what I do is I take one of the spare servo screws that I have, and do not use the small screw that's for the horn. There gives you two larger screws in there that actually screw the servo into wherever it goes. We won't be using that. So I just take this screw, and with the Allen key appropriately, the set screws appropriately set, I just put this in like this, just screw it in, and then we have something that won't rotate when under torque. It's just a little bit to sort of keep it from doing that. Okay, so the next step will be to reinforce this with zip ties, make it a permanent bit of the motor mount. And we do that by punching some holes through. And what I like to do is use a small Phillips screwdriver or the like. I have one right here. I have one right here. Let's see. See a small Phillips? Oh, thank you. All right. So I take the small Phillips now, and I'm just going to make some holes. I like to have a little coroplast down below it to punch into, above and below where the motor mount is, through both layers of coroplast, like this. Be careful, you're kind of punching through a fair amount of material. All right, that's one. And then what we do is we take a zip tie and we run it through here and around to there and back around to here. Okay. All right. So again, so we have punched the final holes, put two holes through, and you can do it below as well. We want on top and bottom. Make sure you're outside of the disc of the motor mount, of the round circular motor mount. Sometimes it's going to be a little tight, but it's all right. All right. And then we're going to take the zip tie and we're going to run it through like this. Make sure it's oriented right, because they have a side that's a good side and a bad side. And then we will push this through the other way. Sometimes these holes will close up on you, and you'll just have to redo them a little bit, particularly go in this direction. So you just take the screwdriver, push it through, and do this. We take that, put the zip tie there. That's that side. For the bottom one, I'll just reopen them a little bit because it looks a little tight. Like that, and through there, and then through here again. That's a little tight, so I'm going to open it up again. It's weird. The coroplast kind of expands and contracts. It sort of will stay open for a little while, and then it'll stop. And you may have to sort of wrestle with it a little bit to get through an actual hole. And there. And then you zip tie it like this. All right. So now we have a motor that's attached to this hinged bit. And the next step is to clean these up a little bit, because this is going to be your one chance to do it. Get this nice and neat. And then we're going to do the same thing again to sort of reinforce back and forth. using these triangular shapes, and I like to put one right here up next close. All right, and then one here. So if you have longer zip ties, they'll probably work a little better on this. So I'll do one with a long zip tie. Take it down through the top of the flute. Oops. Let's keep going. Push it through. Go down around the underside. Right, make sure it's rotated properly. And we're going to go hit this side and go up. It's closed up on me again, so I will just push through again. All the way up. See where it is there. And I will go up this way. And then just that. Okay, that's half. If you only have short zip ties, it's no problem. We'll do one with, assuming we only have short ones. You do the same thing, same holes. I like to get it kind of close to the motor mount, or one up into there, sort of. It's a little messy in there, but it turns out plenty strong. It's not perfect angles. One there, and then we'll do one about here. So I'll start with this one here, which is right about there. Hello. Yeah. Okay. And try to get it up and around a little bit. All right. That went. I have to make this hole. It went in the flute itself. It's a little difficult. Up, through there, and because it's so short, I can't really get up the whole way. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to take this end, this other zip tie that I've got, and sort of attach it, and then just sort of make a double zip tie that's long enough to get the job done. Oops, I may have to redo that. Let's do it again. So we're doing the double zip tie thing again. And we are going to go down through here. There it goes. And up through here. Oops. And we take another short zip tie. Connect it just to extend it. Make sure it's got enough in there to get a little tooth. There it goes. And then I'll put it through. And voila. We have ourselves, we'll clean up, a serviceable motor mount. So here it is, finished. I'll put the motor in there. So that goes in like that. We put the leads off to the side. It'll be left hand or right side, doesn't matter. Don't put them over the top because it'll get in the way. Take our Allen key and we insert it into those nicely located set screws there and there. You might want to put a little Loctite or some other kind of locking mechanism for the set screws. They tend to fall out from vibration from the motor. And there you have it. That is a mounted motor. It's not completely straight. That's okay. They fly fine this way. You can adjust it a little bit, but we'll make this all square with respect to the back of the airplane when we mount this to the airframe.